What's up guys, AliPlays123 back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be sculpting Mooosh from the Chaos Galaxy. This is going to be the first of many in my new series where I sculpt Chaos Galaxy creatures. And this will be entered into the Chaos Galaxy contest for Legends of the Cosmos 2. So without further ado, let's get to the materials. The first thing you will need is some stands. You'll need some wire for the armature. You'll need some super glue to glue the armature into the stand. You'll need some foil to bulk out the armature so you don't have to use as much clay. You're going to need clay. I use original Sculpey, and it's white. You'll need some various tools to help you shape the clay and the armature wire. You'll need a cutting board like this so you can cut the clay into different pieces. And a reference photo so you know what to sculpt. I would use a card, but I've not gotten Mooosh yet. Okay, so I got everything set up. I have already made the armature and put it in the stand, but I still need to super glue it in. So I'm going to get my super glue out. Oh, that was not supposed to go. This is not the one that's open. Yep, this is it. So I'm just going to put it around the hole, and it'll soak into there and hold it in place even more. Now we're done with the super glue, although we might need it later, so we're going to keep it. Now I'm going to wait for it to dry and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to shape these arms to be as long as these ones, because these are a little extra in length in case I needed to have them, like, if I was still deciding how long I wanted them. So, goes right about where the legs start. It's right there. And for this one, okay. Now for the tinfoil part. Not only does this help save on clay, it also makes the sculpture lighter. And I don't think I'm going to put any on the legs because those are very skinny. Now I'm going to make the cone for the top of the head. Not the cone, the mushroom part. This. Okay. That should work fine. And I'm gonna use clay to make it bigger. So now I think that should be good. Okay. So I'm gonna take off some clay. I'm going to cover the legs using snake pieces like this. Looks like the feet are a little bigger, so I'm going to do that. Perfect. And to get it on, just cut down the middle and open it up. So, smoothing the part where the wire went through. Let's put this on when I'm ready for it. Okay. Now I'm going to do it for the other leg and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have both legs full, or have clay on them, I need to kind of get that part in where it bends. So I'm going to add a little clay on the front. I'm going to blend it in. Because I put more at the front, I'm going to cut more of the back. And perfect. Okay. So the legs are done. I just need to smooth out the bottom, but round it out. So now I'm going to fill up this part going up here. Okay, so I filled up this part. As you can see over here, it's filled up. And then I put in more between the legs down here. As you can see right here. So now I'm going to work on this face part up here because it kind of bends forward. I'm going to cut off this back part, and then to move the face forward, I'm going to get a little bit more clay. I'll put it right on the front. Just keep working the clay until you feel like it looks like what you want to sculpt. Okay. So he does not have a mouth or a nose, he just has two eyes. So I'm just going to do a little indent of where those eyes would be. Okay. So the last thing I need to do for the body is get those little like funguses. So some clay. Like this. And put it on the body. This one sticks out too far, so I'm going to cut off a little bit of it. So now that I have it blended in and attached to the Mooosh, I'm going to go through and add all the rest of these. Okay, so I finished sculpting the little funguses growing out of the mushroom. So he looks like this right now. It'll look a lot better when I add the big mushroom that's on top. And that's what we're going to work on now. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this in clay and before I put it on. I'll start making this really flat. A roller would be very good for this, but I don't have one with me right now. doesn't need to be perfectly flat because you're going to sculpt it when it's on this part, so. And I'll be right back. Okay. Now that I have the top covered, I'm going to take some of the clay on the sides off and put it on the bottom. I'll be right back once I have this done. Okay, so after a lot of work, I was able to cover this top and bottom. Now I'm going to see what it looks like when I put it on. Okay, so to me, it needs to be a lot wider and taller. Okay. So it's really easy to make it wider. Just gonna get a snake of clay. Just gonna put it on like this. Now you're gonna move it with your fingers around to make it more of a perfect circle. But if it's not, it's fine because the mushroom is not a perfect circle. I'm excited to get some of the Legends of the Cosmos 2 packs because I get to see all of other people's interpretations of Zach's cards. I think that's going to be very cool. It's a great idea. So now it's a little bit wider, and I'm going to check to see if this is a good width. Okay. I think a little bit wider would be good. Okay, now I'm going to smooth this out and I'll be right back. Okay. Perfect. Now it needs to be taller. So, what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to get a ball of clay. I'm going to roll it into a circle. Then I'm going to squish it down like this. Now I'm going to put it on. And then just smooth it over to the edges. Now the sides around it also need to be a little bit bigger. So to fix that, I'm just going to use the snake of clay. before I smooth that out all the way, I'm just going to make sure that this is tall enough. So I think if I smooth that out and then another ball on the top, it should be good. So I'm gonna finish smoothing this out and I'll be back. I smoothed it out, and now I'm gonna get a ball of clay. And put it right here. Perfect. I think that looks great. Okay, so now that we are done with that, I need to put it on to this. So I'm gonna push it into the wire part, which I'll show you. And push it right here. And then we get some more clay, and I'm gonna put it over the wire. And over here too, I'm going to put it over that part. So I'm going to finish doing this for the rest of the bottom, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have now smoothed in the bottom and filled it with clay, so the wires are now attached to the mushroom. It can be a little bumpy down here, and it can have some cracks because it's going to be just like the bottom, and there are some cracks here, but I'm going to draw more, and because those are pretty big cracks, instead of using the scalpel, I'm going to be using this. Does not need to be like the picture, but you can use it for reference. It looks like the eyes are hidden, so I'm just going to smooth them over. Yeah, okay. And I just looked up at the eyes, and I need to add a little bit more clay up there, so. Okay, so that looks a lot better. next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the arms, because I'll do those mushrooms last. They're gonna be a little bit more fragile and easy to break. So I'm gonna need more clay. I'll do that later. So it looks like the arms are coming off the side of the mushroom, kind of. So that's where I'm gonna start it. Okay, so now I need to beef up the arm up here, because that's where like the shoulder is, but I don't know if it really has a shoulder. And then it gets more beefier down here too, so this is where the skinnier part is. So I'll do a piece of clay like that, and I'm just going to blend it in. Okay. You can also see over here, it is pretty skinny. So it looks like it might be like more flat or more wide on this side, but then skinnier on the side of the arm. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this side, and then I'll finish this side, and I'll come back to do the fingers. Okay, so I filled in both of the arms, and now I need to do the fingers. So he has 4 fingers. One is the thumb, and the 3 other ones are just normal fingers. There are different ways you can do fingers. You can make a snake of clay, or if your arm is long enough, you can just cut up the end, but you're gonna have to sculpt the fingers while they're on it, and it's easier for them to fall off, so yeah. But once they're baked, they won't fall off. It's only when you're sculpting them. And I will be right back. Okay. So right now the fingers are gonna look weird. That's normal. I'm just trying to get the fingers sculpted so they have they're the right size. And then we need to add the bend to the fingers. So this gives the sculpture more depth and makes the fingers look more real. The thumb is bent backwards. And there we go. And then last thing I'm gonna add for this side, so I'm gonna add a little piece of clay here. What this does is right here, it gets like the hand or the arm is going down, and then it gets a little bigger right here, and it goes out to the fingers, so it goes up and out. And so that's what's gonna help make it look a lot better. It's also good for the knuckles, which are important to make the hands look realistic. And so what you're gonna wanna do is for each finger, you're gonna wanna use this tool and move the clay down into that finger. So do that for each one. Okay. And then now I'm gonna smooth it out on the fingers. There you go. So now the hand looks a lot more realistic. And for this, I cut the wire too short, so I couldn't cut the fingers out of that part. And so I'm gonna have to make a snake of clay, and I'm gonna have to cut that into the fingers. And this is very easy, and most of the time, this is what you're gonna have to use to make the fingers. Okay. So get it to the right width, diameter. And if you make it a little long, this is actually a good trick for making the knuckles if you do it this way. You can put it a little bit further onto the hand and then smooth that part out. So now you have the knuckles. And I'm going to put every other finger on before I start smoothing. Just like this. And then for the thumb is going to go right there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my smoothing tool, and over here, I'm going to smooth it into the hand. And I can use my finger to smooth that out. And then right here, I want to go to right and smooth out here. And then I'm gonna put it right here to indent the fingers, show where they're at. In the back, I see that part of the hand or the arm is sticking out, and that's going to make it look very weird. So just push that back. Should be able to see it back there. Okay. So on the hand, he is holding it up, or his fingers up, and his thumb is just out. So I'm gonna try and like bend it up, and then bend the fingers up and have that little joint. And the thing that helps for the joint is using like one of your tools to put it under there, and lift it up, and then put it there. And now that they're lifted up, I can just cut this out. Okay. So the snake of clay, like the way you use the snake of clay to make fingers, takes a little bit longer, and it is more tricky than just cutting the fingers into the hand, but it looks a lot better. And so if you really want to like make the hands and the fingers look as realistic as possible, I would use snake of clays. And right here, so the fingers go here, and then it's an indent. So I'm gonna put a piece of clay there. You can just look for stuff like this and just use your judgment to remove stuff or add clay. I think this looks great. And then just lift it back up. So Mooosh right now is looking very cool. And over at this side, the fingers, I'm gonna make them longer because I know that these fingers are longer. Okay. And if you need help with the snake of clays and they're not staying up and they're being a little tricky, you can cut off a little piece of wire and then stick it in the finger and then stick that into the clay. This will make it so the fingers stay on better. But it will not hold it in there like if you're really sculpting at it with the tool and you're pushing on the finger, it could come out, so you gotta be careful with that. So the last thing we need to do is I'm gonna add mushrooms up here. So I'm gonna take this wire, I'm gonna cut off different sized pieces. The first thing I'm actually gonna do is straighten this wire out because it wasn't a roll. I'm gonna cut out a ton of these and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have all of these cut out. And now, I'm not gonna put these in yet. First I wanna sculpt the mushroom onto them. So I do not need Mooosh right now. So on the mushrooms, some of them are bent, but they have a structure with, like, I'd say a snake of clay moving up, and then we'll sculpt like a ball. We'll squish in one side. So now that I know how I'm gonna make the mushrooms, now I'm gonna sculpt them. And it looks like mainly the tall mushrooms are the ones that bend. And so I'm gonna have to use the pliers to bend the wires and make them bend. Okay. And before I put this on, I'm gonna okay, it's not working that well, but that's fine. So once you get the wire into the clay, you can roll it with your hands. Okay. So I'm gonna put these on the rest of the wires and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I got a lot of these and I'm gonna test them out and see what they look like and if they go into this. So perfect. Okay. So now I'm gonna roll a ball like this and squish the bottom and squishing the bottom and pushing the top up until you have a shape that you are okay with. And then put that in. You have a mushroom. One down and a lot more to go. Like that mushroom. You can barely see the limb. It's just one huge thing. Looking at the mushrooms on it, I feel like the limbs or stems need to be a little smaller, thinner, so I'm just gonna roll that so I can take off some pieces. Now I'm gonna see what it looks like. Okay, that looks a lot better. Actually, I'm going to put the tall ones further in the back. Okay. So I'll be right back once I have all these mushrooms done and put on Mooosh. Okay, so I finished putting in all the mushrooms. And now I just need to blend in every single one and make it look very, very good. So the first thing I'm going to do is go along the bottom. Okay, so now that I have blended it in, it looks like it's meant to be there. It's not just sitting there. Shaking a lot. It won't shake this much once it's cooked though. I'll be right back after I blend in all these mushrooms. Okay. I got all the mushrooms done. So it looks like I need all of these when I look at it. So I'm going to take out this one, because I don't want the mushrooms to overtake the look of the top of the head. And okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. Perfect. I'm going to do the final checks on the sculpture, because once I bake it, I can't change things like this. And oh, it is done. That is officially Mooosh. So to bake this, what we're going to want to do is bake it at 275 for 15 minutes, or since this is bigger, you could do like 20 or 25. And I will see you guys in part 2 when I cook, or when I paint it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Comment down below if you are entering the contest, what card are you drawing? And also comment down below your favorite card from set 4. See you guys later.